Hello, scholars. Let's jump into the lesson. Today, we're going to talk about my favorite phrase, appositive phrases. A phrase is a part of the sentence, right? We're building sentence structure. And I'm going to have you practice making sentences that have appositive phrases, one or two in them. This is a way to develop your writing style. We do a lot of free prompt writing and I want to see you incorporate this part of a sentence, into your style, into your sentence variety. So it's a funny word, right? A positive, but I'm telling you, you instinctively know what an appositive is because they always appear in advertisements. If you have a sweet tooth like me, you know a whole lot about my one of my favorite positive phrase examples, Oreo, milk's favorite cookie. Oreo, milk's favorite cookie. Here's another one. The snack that smiles back, goldfish. For more, Bounty, the quicker picker upper. Everything that's in bold red and italicized, that's my positive phrase, right? Oreo, Milk's favorite cookie. Milk's favorite cookie is a positive phrase. The quicker picker upper, your parents might be more familiar with that advertisement. Here's another: the few, the proud, the Marines. This is two appositive phrases in one sentence. And New York, the city that never sleeps, or New York, the city that never sleeps. So I'm doing this action right here because I want to help you visualize what the writer is doing. Before I give you the textbook definition, someone tell me in the chat, what do all of these sentences have in common? What do all of these sentences have in common? And as a hint, I'm looking for the answer to be about the sentence's punctuation. What do all of these sentences have in common? And I'm looking for what kind of punctuation is in every single one of these sentences. The answer I'm looking for is commas. Oreo, comma, milk's favorite cookie. Every appositive is separated by a comma or a dash. Now let's get into the textbook definition. An appositive is a noun or a noun phrase that identifies or renames another noun. Oreo, my noun, and the noun phrase, milk's favorite cookie, is identifying this noun. It's renaming it or it's giving it an add. It's adding on, right? It's adding detail. You separate Oreo, comma, or Oreo dash, milk's favorite cookie, right? They're more commonly used with commas, but we'll get into the dashes later. Appositive, this is a Latin word for placing close by. So the appositive phrase usually appears after the noun that it's renaming, after the noun that it's giving an advertisement for. So I wanted to illustrate this with a math problem. So, I can have two sentences and they can give me information about the same noun, but I can combine them, right, using an appositive phrase, and it'll make for a more interesting sounding sentence if I put them together. So here are my two sentences. Saint Valentine is the patron saint of lovers, and Saint Valentine never married. Two complete sentences. Now I can put them together this way. Saint Valentine, comma, who is the patron saint of lovers, comma, never married. Now that makes sense, right? Right here is an adjective clause who is the patron saint of lovers, but I can get rid of that who is, make a more concise sentence, and it's something that'll flow, and use this appositive phrase to talk about Saint Valentine. Saint Valentine, the patron saint of lovers, never married. Now, we're given sentences more flow and a little more texture when we use appositive phrases. They're very powerful. And you see them all the time. You see them in advertisements. Saint Valentine, the patron saint of lovers, never married. You also see them in newspapers. Anytime someone is quoted, their appositive phrase is about what that person does. So I'll give you an example. This comes from a random Bloomberg article. So here's the quote. It wasn't easy to make such an important decision, and this decision has a big impact. That's the quote. Who said it? Howard Silverblatt. Howard Silverblatt said. That's the sentence. And then another sentence is Howard Silverblatt is a senior index analyst at S&P Dow Jones. I can put all of these together and make one sentence. It wasn't easy to make such an important decision, and this decision has a big impact, said Howard Silverblatt, senior index analyst at S&P Dow Jones, right? So that structure, this formula always shows up when a journalist is quoting, someone of importance, but they want to advertise who the person is. So there's my noun, comma, appositive phrase. I'll give you more examples on how positives are used in our writing. As we've said, they most often appear directly after the noun it identifies. Oreo, Milk's favorite cookie. Milk's favorite cookie is that appositive right next to the noun, separated by a comma. Another example for you, Misty Copeland, a talented ballet dancer, leapt across the stage before our eyes. The talented ballet dancer is the advertisement for Misty Copeland. You can rename any noun in the sentence, right? Not just the subject. So every example I have given you so far, the noun has been also the subject of the sentence, but it doesn't have to be that way. So here's an example. People are summed up by the roles they fill in society. Now that's one independent clause. We can stop right there. People. So what's the noun that the appositive phrase is going to rename? Roles. People are summed up by the roles they fill in society. Wife or husband, soldier or salesperson, student or scientist, and by the qualities that others ascribe to them. Now, again, I mentioned that we can separate by commas. So we can also separate our appositives with dashes, right? And then I have three appositives phrases in this one sentence, and they're separated by commas. The dashes, keep them separate from the independent clause. The next one, this one is my absolute favorite way to use appositive phrases because they can appear at the end of a sentence for emphasis. At the far end of the zoo, the most magnificent animal I had ever seen ate leaves from a tree. A giant giraffe. I've saved the big advertisement. I've saved the big reveal at the end. Magnificent animal, a giant giraffe. Okay? And lastly, and we've already seen examples of this, two or more appositive phrases may appear alongside the same noun or pronoun. Again, we've got three in this sentence. And then here's a literary example from Mr. Capote where we have two. Two, fairly long appositive phrases, but they are going to talk about this noun, snow. The sky was sunless and gray. There was snow in the air, buoyant motes, playthings that seethed and floated like the toy flakes inside a crystal. This is so poetic, right? Playthings that seethed and floated like the toy flakes inside of a crystal. He's talking about those snow globes. Have you ever seen those when you were a kid? And the white specks are all, flying around the figurine or the image inside of the snow globe. So these are four examples, four ways that we put them in sentences. And again, for Mr. Brown, I love it when a positive phrase appears at the end of a sentence because I think it just packs a good punch. So now, I know that was fairly fast. I want to see what you can pick up in your own, and I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to work on these. You can think of them as math problems, right? Because I want you to read every sentence, A, B, all the way to F. So here we're going to do A together. So you're going to read these sentences. Then I want you to combine the sentences, add them all into one new single clear sentence using at least one appositive phrase. If you come over here, you notice there's a lot of sentences here, so that must mean there's going to be more than one appositive phrase, right? Then you got to omit the words that are needlessly repeated by keep all the important details. So let's do A together. Let's read the sentences. Sean and I strolled through the park. The park is the most peaceful place in town. I have to combine these sentences, but I have to omit the words that are needlessly repeated, right? So what's the repeated word in these two sentences? The park. Now that should give me a clue. The park is going to be the noun that my appositive phrase will rename, will identify, will be the advertisement. So the new sentence could read, Sean and I strolled through the park, comma, the most peaceful place in town. One more time. Sean and I strolled through the park, comma, the most peaceful place in town, period. That's the new sentence, right? I could use a dash, but a comma is more, makes more sense here. So I want you to go through each grouping of these sentences, combine them all, but get rid of the words that repeat. Paul Butler, Paul Butler. I don't need to see that twice, right? So I will check in with everyone individually just to see how it's going. But I'm going to give you 10 minutes and go on and off to the races.